What's up, everybody? We are officially back. It's been quite some time. I think May was last episode that we were on air. We have been doing a lot this summer, a lot of working, not a lot of podcasting. I think some of that credit goes to not having too many sports going on in the summer, other than a little bit of college baseball. And some MLB, which I am watching a lot of. But we're back, man. We're excited to be back. We're got some new segments, some new layout of how we're gonna roll through some things, and I think you guys are gonna love it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna be able to bring on a lot more guests and do some talk of NIL, some college sports talk. So to kind of run you guys through how we're gonna go about it. I know we post a little bit of it on Instagram, but to kind of give you a more detailed description in our season 2 here. Segment 1, we're gonna kind of just roll into talking about NIL deal updates, kind of just give you guys some fun updates of some big deals that's been happening with some pretty big athletes, and then we'll unpack that price, all the juicy information about that. Segment 2, when necessary, we're thinking about talking about some hometown hero stuff. Not sure what that's totally going to consist of, honestly, but we'll unpack some hometown hero stuff as it comes. And then the last segment of our NIL talk will be some fun new legislation that's been coming out. We got a big one today that has recently come out this summer and in the Congress.
Yeah, just got passed over into Congress. Now it's waiting
Yeah.
for Congress and everyone to
actually pass it.
Yeah,
which is ironic because it's called the PASS Act. But then we'll lead into a little fun segment. We're gonna do some just weird questions of the week. Can consist of a lot of different things, but kind of we'll each pick one for that week and have a little talk outside of NIL and sports, and guess you'll get to know us a little bit more. And then finally go into our last transition of just unpacking college sports this fall, especially, is going to be fun with college football. We are approaching week 0, so that's what we'll be talking about some today. But we'll first start off talking about some updates in the sports world. There'll be suspensions, injuries, just kind of all things news updates, college sports at the time. And then lastly, to end it off, we'll go through our games of the week. We got all games of the week for week 0 right now, but once we get into like week to week, we'll kind of pick
a handful.
I don't know what that number will be yet, but today we got all 7 week 0 games, and then we'll kind of break down what those games are going to look like, what the spread's like, over, under, who's favorited, all that kind of stuff. And then we'll each go through and share our picks for the games. And then when we have guests on, they'll pick as well. But when we don't have guests on, like this episode, we will pick somebody. It could be somebody random, or we could pick one of our friends, or I don't know, athlete or something, whoever. And we'll get them to send their picks in, and we'll post those on our Instagram story on the Hero Club Instagram. So we'll keep a running tally of like our picks and versus each other, and then a total guest list tally of kind of just keep track of who's winning throughout the season. That'll be fun. Always like to have a good competition. So it'll be good. I'm super excited. I think this is an outline of a podcast that I think we're going to have a lot of fun with. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy to listen to, and hopefully can bring you guys some good content. So with that being said, kick us off with segment 1. I'll dive straight into it. We've got 3 different athletes we're going to focus on with some new deal updates. A lot's been going on this summer and stuff. But we are going to talk about Arch Manning, Spencer Rattler, and Caleb Williams. The first one that we want to point out is Arch Manning and this deal he did with, is it Panini?
Panay.
Panay?
Panini. It might be Panini. I really have no idea how you pronounce it. P-A-N-I. P-A-N-I-N-I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Panini.
Yeah. Trading card company.
Yeah. It's got to be Panini,
Yeah.
which is weird though, because I'm just going to think of a sandwich. But trading card company, Panini, whatever. We're just going to move.
We're going to call it Panini.
Yeah, it's a Panini. But this deal is super interesting because Arch Manning, when he came to Texas, said that he was not going to take a single dime of NIL money until he was a starting quarterback. But we'll get more into that. He did the deal with Panini, was
so 1-of-1 trading card.
Yeah, of him.
Yeah.
Auctioned off for $102,500, which sold more than the 1-of-1 card for Luka Doncic and Peyton Manning.
Yeah, his uncle.
Yeah,
Which about some bragging rights.
Yeah. So we'll get into that, and then we'll also talk about Spencer Rattler. He signed a deal with G-Wagon last year, I think, but he just this past week, I think, officially got his G-Wagon.
So he signed it in 2022, December 2022, and then received a car then, but I think he just traded it out. So now he's got like the brand new G-Wagon.
Oh, he got to trade it? That's fun.
Yeah.
$140,000 G-Wagon, blacked out.
Yeah. Brand new 2023.
Sexy.
Oh, dude, it's so nice.
And then finally, cap it off with Caleb Williams and United Airlines, which is fun. Promoting their 127 new direct flights. USC Stadium is United Field, and that's about it. So,
yeah,
that's what we're about to talk about. Arch Manning first. First of all, I think it's very bold to say, well, not bold, but I definitely respect him choosing to not take NIL money until he starts. I feel like that's a very, very mature decision from a young kid.
Yeah.
Probably just 18 years old. Definitely seems to have a really good head on his shoulders. Because in the time we're in right now, with a lot of people taking so much money on NIL and how much hype there's been around him going to Texas, and just the money involved in the University of Texas and the state of Texas and Texas football and college football in general, I really respect him choosing to focus on doing what he's there to do, and that's be the starting quarterback and focusing on that outside of money. But
I mean, his valuation is over $1 million easily, just from the last name Manning alone, coming in as one of the highest rated recruits ever in the history of college football.
Did he take NIL in high school?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge.
I mean, I'm sure he's doing fine either way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's so interesting, man. Yeah. Once he does start taking that money, though, he'll skyrocket.
Yeah.
But even without, so that's something that we also didn't mention with the trading card. That valuation of was 102,500. That, and I don't know about the entirety. I won't say that, but a large majority, if not all, of that cost went to a charity.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you which one it is.
I'm not sure.
Do you know?
I don't know if they publicized it.
Okay. That would make sense. But super cool. And talk about the elephant in the room. Luka and Peyton Manning, he surpassed both of them in his valuation of his first card.
Yeah. I mean, Luka's sold for 100,000 flat. Peyton sold for, it was like right around 80,000.
When was that? I wonder. Peyton's.
That I'm not sure about.
Because if that was in 1998 or whenever he was it when he was in college, or was it like an NFL one? We'll have to get back on that.
I have no idea.
Because if it was when he's in college, 80,000 in the 90s, that's wild.
That is wild. I would assume it was an NFL card.
That would make sense.
So, but I mean, even
I've never heard of this trading card company. If they were doing this and when Peyton was in college, it'd be kind of nuts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Luka was his rookie card. So, I mean, he's still young. I don't know exactly what his rookie year was, but it wasn't that long ago. Even despite the two names that he just surpassed, if anything, if those names don't mean anything to you, it's the fact that it's an NFL legend, an NBA soon to be legend, probably. Yeah.
And now the freshman who hasn't played a down for Texas football.
Yeah.
And he's a freshman quarterback
in college just surpassed both of those. That's ridiculous, dude.
Yeah. So not even the starter. I mean, he's behind Quinn.
We'll get into that later.
Yeah. So, anyways, next on the chopping block, we had Spencer Rattler, his G-Wagon deal. We talked about that a little bit, but he signed it in December 2022. This is his at minimum second car, but going into fall camp now. We're going in, fall camp. He's got a brand new 2023 G-Wagon he's rolling up with.
So interesting. Because I wonder from G-Wagon's perspective, like, okay, are we just doing this as a company, just giving this dude a freaking brand new G-Wagon, not once, but twice, just for the fact that we're G-Wagon and we can do it? Or is like, are they seeing a return on this investment at all?
Oh, absolutely. Because here's the thing, like, I don't know if he's getting paid outside of just the free car or not, but
it's $140,000 car. If they are, then good for them.
But, I mean, here's the thing: is like when you have the whole point of these car dealership deals that you're seeing is not about the money; it's about the fact that when you drive around campus, when he goes back home to Arizona, when he drives around South Carolina, when he drives around South Carolina, whatever he's doing, like, you see Spencer Rattler and you recognize who he is. So it's the social media posts are great, all that stuff's awesome, but it's the fact that everybody now associates Spencer Rattler with a G-Wagon.
I agree with that. But my question more revolves around, okay, yes, G-Wagon is the car, but then who's going to trace that G-Wagon back to the specific dealership?
It's also like you look at how high value that is. I mean, if they sell 3 cars because of this one deal, they've made their money back.
That's fair.
So it's not like a t-shirt where they paid him $1 million, whatever, $100,000.
They got to do bukus of sales.
Yeah, and you got to sell 100,000 t-shirts.
That's fair.
You got to sell like 3 cars to make your money back on this.
That makes sense. It's still, despite this deal, the car dealership deals have been nuts to me. I mean, you saw Bijan with the Lambo.
Yeah.
Like, these
Did you ever hear how that happened? The Bijan
Lambo
deal? Yeah.
Uh-uh.
So he had a friend that was on the team. He was like in the spring game. He recognized the dude who owned the Lambo dealership, walked up to him at the spring game. Yeah. Wow. And said, "Hey, would you have any interest?" Like, acted almost as his agent, essentially. He was like, "Hey, I know I'm friends with Bijan. I know he would love to drive a Lambo around. You got any interest in a partnership?"
No way.
Went from there.
I hope Bijan gave old buddy some money or something, because that's a true friend right there.
For real.
Find you a friend like that.
Yeah. No kidding.
But it's just like, it's ridiculous to me. I shouldn't say ridiculous, but it's very entertaining and interesting to me to see these car dealerships giving these college athletes cars like that. I mean, I'm not going to be the one to say that they're very irresponsible, but you just never know with athletes in general. And I guess if you're just giving them the car, then you don't have a ton of liability, but a lot of these, you're just like leasing these cars out to these guys for like a month or something.
Yeah.
And hoping that all is well when it comes back.
There's a lot of insurance stuff that goes into it.
Oh, I'm sure.
That would be super boring to get into on this podcast right now, so we're not going to do that. But I've had a couple conversations about it before. I'll say that.
Very fun.
So, but protected.
Good for Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
Whipping the G-Wagon.
Yeah. No kidding.
I'm jealous.
That's probably my dream car.
G-Wagon?
Yeah. I mean,
of all things,
G-Wagon.
That's bold.
I mean, you have that. I'm not talking like sports cars, I guess. Like, I would love to drive a sports car. But then I'm also thinking, I love the new Bronco.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even
like a regular everyday car. I think I would want a new Bronco. But my dream car is definitely going to be one of like 10 sports cars.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like in Hypersport. I think it's so nice.
So, anyways, all right. Caleb Williams, United Airlines. I don't know exactly how this came up, but basically United Airlines is the field sponsor where USC plays. So they, going into this new football season, have added 127 new flights that go direct to all over the place. I don't know the exact list, but I assume that LA is one of them. So they're using quarterback Caleb Williams to promote those new flights. So yeah, to promote those new flights, they are just continuing to see what that looks like. I don't know what he's being paid for that. I don't know if it comes with just a bunch of free flights.
I was about to say, honestly, I would so take the flight benefits. That would be dope. I feel like this is one of the first ones we've really seen, or first NIL deals we've really seen, at least that I can think of off the top of my head, of airlines.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if I've seen, I know Delta hasn't really done anything.
I don't think American. I don't think Southwest. I think this is the first airline.
You know what somebody should have done? Was it who was it? Was it Frontier that they like came out with the new like flight package thing?
Yeah,
they should have attached that to an athlete somehow.
That would have been cool.
That's besides the point. But still, I think crazy airline deal is super fun because you're talking about a big airline here.
Yeah.
Whether I'm sure he's getting paid more than enough, but
for sure,
if flight benefits are included in that, then that's really fun.
Yeah. On the Frontier note, I mean, it's like a winter flight package. So it's like an all you can fly over the winter. So if you just promoted that as all you can fly to away football games,
they might still do it with or you start.
I was about to say it hasn't officially started yet. Yeah, you get basketball and football in there.
Because it's like, is it like November to January or something? It's like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, that sounds right. Maybe February.
It's just not a bad deal because people are gonna buy it because it's awesome, and then fly 1 or 2 times.
Yeah,
I mean, somebody like Frontier, they kind of need it.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'll reach out. I'll see what I can draw up with them.
Oh, that'd be fun.
But who knows?
Love it. So I guess that kind of wraps up our first segment. Unless you got any more to add of any other people, anything from Arch Manning, Spencer.
I mean, there's lots of cool collectives out there doing stuff right now. You have I think the second collective to ever do it just dropped their own beer. That like sponsors this. I don't know exactly how it all works out.
That's what I say, because that's definitely illegal.
They found some legal way to do it.
For those that do not know, there are a few things in NIL that are not allowed to be attached to NIL deals. Alcohol being one.
Yeah, alcohol, gambling, any kind of political promotion, things like that.
I think those are like the main 3.
Yeah, those are the big 3 for sure. Drug paraphernalia, that type of stuff.
How do they do that?
All pretty basic stuff. Yeah. So I don't know for sure. But
does it have to promote, like, could it be? Man, that wouldn't make sense.
I also don't know. So here's the thing. I don't know if they are, one, I don't think the athletes are actually promoting it, like physically promoting it. 2, I don't know if any of the specific athletes' names are tied to it. So it might just be like the collective name is tied
partnering with it or something.
Yeah, so the collective name's tied to it, and then from there the money gets distributed to the athletes. That's probably exactly what's happening, actually.
Interesting.
So
I could see that. It's still risky though, because I mean that's definitely, I think, what did you say, the first or second?
You're towing a gray line there. They're the second company. They're the second collective to do it.
Interesting.
So, but I mean, hey, it obviously worked for the first one. So
yeah. But
I mean, I can just see every tailgate at that school. Just
that would be dope.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
So we'll see.
A lot of football talk right now. We can, once everything else starts getting kicked off throughout the semester, fall semester, we'll add in some other, because I know we just talked about 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the hot topic right now. So we'll expand our talks outward too, but those are definitely going to be the fun ones.
Yeah.
The big ones at least. So,
well, for now we'll move on to the legislation you kind of hinted at the beginning. But right now there is a new bill that was proposed to Congress by Senator Tuberville of Alabama, and then the senator from West Virginia.
Came from SEC, right?
So the SEC's back to the bill. Yeah. A lot of the SEC coaches and some coaches outside of the SEC have also backed the bill. Along with your school presidents, athletic directors, all kinds of people. But it would do a whole lot to the NIL industry. So overarching, it would provide a standard kind of umbrella for how the NIL industry would work. It would create a regulatory body for all agents. It would create a standard contract. It makes a whole lot of rules about how schools can and cannot interact with athletes. They could no longer pull any scholarships. So once this player is committed and has a scholarship to your school, that is that. You have to continue to give them that four-year scholarship unless they transfer out. Yeah, it does that. I mean, it just all kinds of stuff. So to go down the list, number one, a big thing it would do is it requires all collectives and boosters to be affiliated with a college or a school. So they would have to work with the athletic department.
Yeah, which is very new. If you don't know already, it's very not legal for collectives to be affiliated with the school directly, with the athletic department, with the university at all.
Yeah.
Obviously collectives hone in and focus on specific schools and the sports within those schools, but they're definitely their own entity and aren't connected at all. So that, I think we kind of saw this coming.
We definitely did, because there are a lot of things. One, this enables the NCAA to regulate collectives. It also really gives the government more oversight over how collectives operate, because public schools, at the very least, have a duty to report and all that kind of stuff. So now collectives falling under the athletic department also have that duty. The biggest thing probably goes into Title IX and ensuring that ensuring that every athlete has equal opportunity through NIL. And that can mean a couple of different things that I won't get into right now. I'll let the bill come out and specifically say what that is, because it could mean a lot.
You're right. I mean, once collectives are going to be tied to these athletic departments and universities, Title IX is definitely going to be enforced, I think.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to right now without that.
Right.
Because again, they're on their own. But I think you're right. Once they get into the athletic departments, that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah. So you have all that. There's also going to be a forward-facing website that anybody can go on and see any NIL deal that is in process. So you and I as agents can go on, any other athlete can go on. If you sign a deal, it will be on that website, and you're required to report it within 30 days of signing.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I wonder, did you see similar stuff like that with On3?
Mm-hmm.
That's more of just a tracker of kind of showing what's been done.
Yeah, it's
nothing's
a tracker.
Required.
Nothing's required.
I wonder who will kind of be the operator of that website. Is that like the NCAA?
The government.
Fun.
Yeah, I'm sure the NCAA will have something to do with it, but it's also in the bill of like within 180 days of this bill being passed, there has to be the website active. So
spicy.
Because right now, like On3 is great, but people kind of just really use On3 as a publication. So when they want to publicize that they signed the deal, they put it on On3. But if they don't want that public, there's no requirement to put it on there.
And a lot of it now, like I was scrolling through there today, a lot of it now is just you scroll down and you see nothing but collective stuff.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. You don't see a lot of bigger agencies, or really a ton of agencies in general, that have a lot of athletes. That's less the face of that website than it is now collectives, but that'll be fun.
Oh, it'll be a blast for sure. So
have a lot more to talk about in our first segment here if that gets passed.
So, but then moving on from there, another big kind of hot topic of the bill is healthcare, and it requires athletic departments to provide healthcare for sports related injuries up to 8 years following their graduation from a 4-year institution.
It's big.
So yeah, it's big. It goes a lot more into detail about how much is required and all that kind of stuff, who pays out of pocket, all of that. But
so I wonder, two questions. I wonder, is it the 4 years plus 4 more, or is it like if you play football for 4 years at Georgia, you have 8 years after that?
I think it's 8 years after that.
Okay. My second question would be, I could see how this is very important for athletes. A lot of college athletes do not go play professionally.
Right.
That's huge for these. This bill is huge for those people. What does that look like? Does that just like end and your insurance crosses over to your, if you go to the NFL, MLB, et cetera, NBA, whatever?
So I'm not sure, because it's also going to come down to like you're going to have to be able to prove that you sustained this injury during your time in college sports. So
so it's more specific to like if you got hurt in college, like
it's not like
carries on.
It's not like if you go break your arm while you're working 4 years later, then the school has to pay for it. This is like you have to have surgery on your knee 3 years down the line because you had an injury your senior year that you didn't know about.
Gotcha. That makes more sense.
So I think it's a great rule. I think it's a great thing to enforce.
Yeah.
And like I said, I mean, it really goes down into schools based on how much revenue they make, on how much they have to pay out of pocket, and there's a whole rabbit hole that you can go down there.
For sure. I think this is gonna be, that's really good, because I mean, I even know guys that got hurt in college and are still dealing with, especially baseball, still dealing with shoulder stuff and a lot of injuries that you get from playing that just continue to bug you and get reactivated and have to deal with a lot of medical stuff after. So
well, when your whole time in college, I mean, you go see a trainer every day, you get all your massage and your therapy and your cryotherapy.
Well, they take care of you now.
Yeah, so anything you need is taken care of. But the second you graduate, all of a sudden you're not getting that treatment every day. These injuries start to flare up, things like that, and you don't have that treatment that you had in college. So I love that rule. I think it's great for the athletes.
That's very good.
So I talked about the 4-year commitment, or the institution's commitment to scholarships. They cannot pull scholarships anymore.
It's big.
Yeah, it's big. I think that's great. Not a whole lot more to talk about there.
Is that just once you sign, like, you think that's activated as soon as you sign your national letter of intent?
I would say as soon as you're enrolled.
Okay.
Most likely.
Because I just think about, say this bill was in place before the whole thing with the quarterback that signed to Florida.
Yeah.
And then switched. And I know that it's more on, it is more on school scholarships than like NIL guarantees or whatever that is. But I wonder, because he signed his national letter of intent and then asked to have it revoked and went to, where did he end up going?
Arizona
State. That's right.
Yeah. So no, I would assume it's when you're first enrolled, and honestly, it might even be as late as when your first bill is paid, your first student bill is paid.
That would make sense.
So, but where this PASS Act gets really interesting, and where it's currently being kind of held up in Congress right now, that a lot of people have pushback on, is it requires you, once you're at a school, you have to wait 3 years before you can transfer. So now there are some exceptions to that. I'll open up with that. There's an exception if you have a death in the family. If the coach that recruited you is either that, if the coach that recruited you, the head coach, or your position coach leaves the school, then you have an exception. You're allowed to go. And then there's a bunch of other criteria that is not specified. They just kind of left it as other criteria. So those are the exceptions. But still, I mean, 3 years is a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that wouldn't be crazy if you go back 2-3 years ago, but after what we've seen in the last year or two with how much transferring there's been and people going back and forth and all over.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, one other issue that we've seen specifically with NIL or since NIL started is that people will enter the transfer portal and then don't have anywhere else to go. So then they lose their spot on their team where they currently are. They no longer have another team recruiting them. And now they're no longer a college athlete because into the transfer portal and couldn't find a home. So that's this is what that's really trying to cut down on more than anything else.
So
I'm for there being some kind of rule about transferring. I'm not going to say that I'm necessarily for the you have to stay for 3 years with these few exceptions.
I like that it's going to be a little more locked down though, because this whole deal of everybody going wherever, whenever they want is it's kind of annoying.
Right now, there's just nothing stopping a quarterback. You look at Dylan Raiola in high school.
Yeah,
there's nothing stopping him. He's played for 4 different high schools on all 4 years. There's nothing stopping him from going to Georgia his freshman year, transferring out to Auburn for his second year, LSU, and then Maryland for all 4 years. He'll make a bag everywhere he goes and just continue to go. So I'm for some kind of regulation. I'm not going to say necessarily all 3 years you're locked in, but something.
It's also, last comment on this, that it's kind of a different take on this is you mentioned unless one of the criterias of athletes leaving would be the coaches. So that will get interesting with, I mean, I'm not saying that coaches are just getting fired left and right whenever, but it's going to be a lot more strategic by athletic departments and coaching changes. And like, you don't really hear a ton about position coaching.
Right.
If that probably changes a lot more than we really realize, because it's just not as public information as the head coach, defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator. But with that being one of the only criterias, I mean, that is going to make things a lot more strategic with the staff and when they're going to go, how they're going to go about that to make sure that certain players are staying where they need.
Yeah.
I wonder if this bill is about to be passed, if we see a lot of coaching changes before it to lock people in on where they want to go or where you want your coaches to be.
Yeah. You probably start to pay position coaches more because, I mean, if you're Georgia, you have a great quarterback coming in. You want to make sure that he stays there, but you also want to make sure that your quarterback coach doesn't get sniped out from under you by somebody who needs an offense coordinator.
Absolutely.
So all kinds of different implications on that side.
That's fun. I like that one.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. I'm excited to see it play out. So, but that's all the legislation that we'll talk about for the day to kind of keep that to a minimum.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead and kick us off in the sports talk.
Well, first, our fun segment.
Yes. That.
Yes.
You told me you were going to surprise me with a question today, so I'm slightly nervous.
So I'll give you guys a little insider information. We were going to do the only other idea other than like just a question of the week, because I guess a question of the week is pretty broad. We were thinking about doing like a meal of the week, just talking about food, because I really love food.
If we had a video of us just like cooking a different meal every week.
It's so much work. We'll think about it.
Oh no, we're not doing it. But it'd be.
I only said that to give you if you really wanted to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not doing that. But a question of the week could include a meal of the week if you really wanted to. But could just encompass a lot of things to just kind of have a fun little conversation outside of NIL and sports. But my first one's weird that I want to surprise you with.
All right.
I've already asked it before.
Okay.
So it's not like that off topic. Okay. To phrase, I didn't just ask this, like, I didn't randomly think of this when we were thinking of stuff before. I asked it from a list. I didn't just randomly think of this question because it was kind of weird. So don't think I'm just thinking about this, please.
You never know what's going through Brett's mind.
Hey, that's true. But this one is not. I'm not that crazy. All right. What is your favorite smell?
Oh.
You can't be basic.
I don't want to be basic because you see, like, on one hand,
the truth though too.
On one hand, like, I love the smell of a campfire, but I'm not going to necessarily tell you it's my favorite smell. So It's
I
great.
need specifics too, not just like a candle. Like, or if you say something about like if you can still say this, but if you said like steak, I want to hear you explain like when I walk into a steakhouse, the moment that I hear the sizzling of the like, give me the details.
All right. Let me think. Honestly, I'm gonna say like a nice when you walk in to a cigar lounge.
Oh,
But like not just the lounge, specifically when you walk into the humidor room.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
And you're just like engulfed by every smell of all the cigars combined. Not even necessarily lit, just like before they're lit, every smell just hits you. And it's just perfect. That's what I'm gonna go with as my top smell.
We're having slight technical difficulties with our screen, but
That's okay.
I love that answer. Micah and I are huge cigar fanatics. Love to.
Yeah, we're going to cigar lounge tonight, and I'm incredibly excited.
Yeah.
For that smell, particularly.
It's, not that we smoke cigars like every night, but definitely enjoy a good cigar here and there. But I love that, dude. That's a good answer.
Yeah, I'm locking it in.
Final answer. Good. My answer would be a good, crisp, newer
or like brand new.
Brand new would be ideal, but
Okay.
newer is okay.
Okay, I got you.
Fresh smell of a hotel elevator.
I'm slightly concerned.
Oh, bro, listen to me. Listen to me. No, dude. Okay, it cannot. Here's my one requirement, though. It cannot be a hotel elevator at the beach because it's just not even the same. Because then you start mixing the people that are coming up on the elevators with like the sand and like some like saltwater smell after. Like that just dilutes the perfect. Like, bro, a good hotel. I like the smell of hotels in general, but a newer hotel, nice and clean. You walk into a good elevator, that smell is fantastic. Makes me want to ride on it all day.
I can't even like imagine what that smell is right now. Like
I can.
That's such a random answer.
If I could have a candle of a good hotel elevator smell, I would do it.
Maybe that's a good business idea. Maybe let's explore that.
It's really not because I'm one of a kind, but I don't think people would buy candles that smell like elevators. Maybe, maybe I'm not alone.
I appreciate
alone in the elevator smell, but like making a candle would be a little much. I think
that's fair. I think you're alone, but we'll
no way, dude. Elevators are a good smell.
No, for sure alone.
I disagree. Someone let me know.
I'm not going to tell you that they're not a good smell, but like your favorite smell.
Here's the thing. If I really sat down and thought about it like hard, I could probably think of something like a good steak cooking or like a good grill out.
I'm not even worried about the fact that you didn't have long to think.
It's just the first thing that came to my mind.
And that's what I'm more worried about. That's
why I'm saying. And as soon as I told you couldn't be basic, I was just like, I know the perfect smell. Dude, especially like, okay, actually, I'll come back and say my actual like real favorite smell is coffee in the morning. Like if I could pick one thing to smell the rest of my life, it would probably be fresh cup of coffee in the morning. But then you mix that with like you hit the elevator so fresh and so clean. Shout out Bruno Mars. And you're coming down that perfect elevator. And then after I get out of the perfect smell of that elevator and step out into the hotel lobby and smell some fresh breakfast buffet with some good coffee. Oh, dude, I'm living the dream.
Sure. I'll let you have that one.
Don't judge.
I'm going to judge you, but I'll let you have it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well,
let us know some fun questions that you guys want us to talk about and discuss.
Yeah. What's your favorite icebreaker whenever you're sitting in a room?
I thought you were about to say ice cream.
No. Whenever you're sitting in a new group, everybody always asks for an icebreaker. So what's everybody's favorite icebreaker? I'll give us that and we can kind of go from there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, to transition over into more sports talk, we have college football obviously coming up, kicking off. And are we less than a month now? I think it's a month tomorrow, actually.
For us at the time of recording this, yes.
Yeah.
Releasing, this is coming out on August 17th. But I think it'll be date of release. So when you guys are all able to listen to this, it'll be not the like Saturday after the 17th, but the following Saturday. The Saturday right before our next episode.
Yeah.
And then the first, I think September 2nd is week 1 of real.
Yeah. So here in a minute, we'll start to pick our teams for the week 0 games. But then leading up to that, just we've seen a lot happen in college football, particularly the past couple of weeks. So we'll stick it off with Jim Harbaugh suspended for 4 games, recruiting violations. What do you want to talk about that? What you know?
So when I first heard this, I just wasn't disappointed at all.
Georgia fan.
I just don't care about Michigan. I kind of wish it was an Ohio State.
Have you seen their schedule for the first 4 games?
Michigan?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, it's like cakewalk. Like it's not even gonna matter. That's the flip side of the suspension. Is like,
are we talking about Georgia or Michigan?
Yes.
I don't care. Go Dogs.
But particularly, you have like Michigan has 0 hard games in the first 4 games. So I mean, like Jim Harbaugh was suspended. That's not gonna matter.
No, but it's still fun because like I don't like Michigan and I really don't like Ohio State. So those Big Ten teams, they can, whatever. I don't care. But when I first saw it, I was like, okay, he's definitely paying some people under the table or something, which is kind of stupid if you're going to get caught with that now with NIL. Doesn't really make sense, but it wasn't. Turned out it actually kind of goes back. I think one of the main reasons from the suspension was he was texting or he was in touch with people during times he wasn't supposed to be. I think the main one was during COVID. There was like a
dead period.
A dead period for COVID that he was meeting with some people.
Yeah.
As well as he was texting some players, I think, with some time during a time that coaches weren't allowed to be talking.
It all seems like small stuff, but also like there are definitely rules that people have had to follow for years.
Right.
So
which I think, I mean, in a big scope view, like a 4-game suspension isn't that big of a deal, honestly.
Yeah.
Especially at the beginning.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot worse. So I think the punishment was worth the crime.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say crime, but like,
I mean, it's against recruiting laws.
Yeah. I think the punishment was valid. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I can get behind it. But now I will say it's
just kind of funny because it's Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, that's true. The only thing that I have with that, and the only issue I have with that punishment is that Tennessee had significantly worse violations.
Yes.
And a ton of violations, like 100 plus violations. And they received a massive fine. But they did just receive a fine. Nobody was suspended. Nobody got a bowl ban.
I agree. But the hard part is coach is not there anymore. Who did it?
Yeah.
There's probably very few players that are still there that were there during that. So like there's only so much you really can't. I mean, I think,
but it was like 20 tier 1 violations.
Yeah,
like Michigan,
it was bad.
Michigan had 1.
I agree, but like you can't punish the current Tennessee team for something that they were not involved in. Current coach was not involved in. Current team is not involved in. Like that's just not fair to the current coach and team. That's how I see it. I mean, what they did was awful, and they wiped away that whole entire season. They canceled all their wins, which I don't know, for Tennessee it was probably like 5.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tennessee fans. But I don't know. I think yes, it could have been worse, but if everybody was still there, I would want it to be a lot worse, and I think it would be.
Yeah.
I just don't know what else you could do to punish the guys that a coach and a team that's not there anymore.
I get both arguments of it. And like the reason is exactly what you said. Like people aren't there anymore. So they just like, all right, well, we'll find the athletic department because that's who's the only people that are really still there. So, I mean, I get it, but kind of hard to look at Michigan and then look at Tennessee when Tennessee's violations were that much more significant and Michigan's were pretty low in the grand scheme of things. So, but anyways, moving on. UGA and Alabama, 2 top programs in the country, have not named a starting quarterback going into this season so far. Less than a month away. What are you thinking?
I think, honestly, everybody kind of knows who it's going to be for both teams. I'll speak more to Georgia than for Alabama. I mean, I think everybody kind of assumes it's Carson Beck. He was the number 2 guy all last year. Think he's got a lot of potential and a lot of talent. Georgia does have a strong QB room. So I think it is kind of a credit to the guys that are probably going to be behind Carson Beck, and because you still have a lot of top tier talent in that quarterback room with Carson Beck, Under Stockton, and Brock Vandagriff. And then obviously next year you have Dylan Raiola coming in, but I don't mind it, honestly. I mean, again, I think everybody kind of knows who it's going to be, but I like that Kirby and the coaching staff isn't just dead set on one person and deciding, okay, we're going to just roll with who everybody thinks and knows it's going to be. But I like when something like this is kept at a heavy competition, because obviously it's a really important job, and want to make sure that these guys, I mean, between the 3 of them, yeah, they've had a few plays here and there, but none really that significant. So I think going into a season coming off of 2 national championships, I think going into a season like this is going to be crucial. You go to Bama, or not Bama, you go to Auburn, you go to Tennessee, 2 teams that I'm not convinced are going to be great, but 2 tough places to play. So it's a big season. So I think just making sure you got the right guy in the right spot is important. But
yeah,
all that being said, I think everybody does kind of know who it's going to be, but
that's fair. Yeah, y'all's situation is a little bit different than ours here at Alabama. We think that it will be.
My computer's about to die.
That background will go away. It'll be all right. We think that it will be Jalen Milroe. He was the number 2 guy last year over Ty Simpson. Everybody kind of has their own speculation of, all right, well, Jalen will start and then Ty Simpson will take over by week 4 or whatever. I think that Jalen Milroe has every tool to be a great quarterback in the SEC and in college football. The only doubt that anybody has is that last year when he played, he did not look good. He looked terrified to stand in the pocket. He looked rattled. He didn't seem like he knew what was going on. And like first game in the SEC, it was the A&M game, to be completely fair in that aspect of things too. Like not an easy game to play. You're following up the Heisman winner who's been the starter in front of you for the past year and a half. So all things considered, super hard situation for him to be in. But he still did not look great. So that's why everybody's a little concerned.
Yeah, it's not easy coming off the bench, man. I don't care what sport it is. To, like you said, to sit behind the guy.
Yeah.
Number 1 overall pick, Heisman winner, to sit behind somebody as great of an athlete as Bryce Young. It's hard to keep that mindset of, okay, when it's my time, I'm going to make the most of it. I think I respect a lot of people that do have that mindset, but it's not easy to come in off the bench in situations like that and be ready to follow that talent up. But I'm sure that your coaching here at Bama is going to do just fine of figuring out who the guy is going to be.
Yeah.
And making sure they're ready to go. So
yeah, we've learned to trust Saban.
No. Yeah, I probably would too.
No,
Unfortunately, Kirby's better, but
that's a conversation for another day. That's also a hot take.
Yeah, I know. I just like to grind your gears a little bit.
No,
Good dogs.
But anyways, so yeah, I think Milroe will start. I think Milroe has every opportunity just to continue to play and to win that job outright in the first couple games if he can continue to succeed. But we also have Ty Simpson, who was 5-star recruit coming in, one of the top quarterbacks in the country.
Where's he from?
Tennessee somewhere.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't really hear much about Alabama's backup quarterbacks. Usually it's just the guy, and
yeah,
unless your name's Tua or Jalen, didn't really know about backups too much. So
yeah. So
I don't know anything about these guys, honestly.
yeah, Ty Simpson's a beast.
Yeah.
He's great. And his deep ball is fantastic. We'll say that. The only reason that Jalen Milroe is probably ahead of him right now is Jalen Milroe would be the most athletic quarterback in the SEC. And I'm putting him next to like Joe Milton. Honestly, like I think he's just as athletic as Anthony Richardson was. In college.
Jaden Daniels?
Yes.
You just said most athletic quarterback in the SEC.
I did, yeah. And there's a lot of athletic quarterbacks in the SEC.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to tell you he's better than Jaden Daniels. But, I mean, he's absolutely massive, ridiculously fast, super athletic. I mean, like, if you watch, he's a great running quarterback.
Spencer Rattler?
And that's his saving grace. Yes. That's
his more athletic than
That's his
Spencer
saving grace, yes. Is how athletic he is. It's just a matter if he can put together the pocket presence and the throwing ability.
Talk about a hot take, huh?
I don't really think that that's that hot of a take though either.
I just have no proof. Again, I don't keep up with Alabama's backup quarterbacks.
We'll watch it,
but
we'll talk.
I have no proof, and that I think that's just a bold statement to be able to say put him above who we know are some very athletic quarterbacks in the SEC right now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I stand.
I'm not going to stand behind that personally, but we'll come back a couple games in and reevaluate that statement.
Yeah, we'll talk more. Anyways, moving on. Texas quarterback situation. You got Quinn Ewers, you got Arch Manning, 2 literal perfect recruits coming into college. One of like the 4 perfect recruits ever on the same team now. Quinn Ewers has not been officially named the starter, but
it's his job to lose.
Yeah. I mean, even Sarkisian will tell you that it's his job to lose for sure. So,
yeah, I think this is, I don't know how much of a conversation it is right now.
From Arch's perspective, what do you think it's like to come in as that highly rated recruit? You know, I mean, if he came to Alabama, he'd be starting this year. And he was between Alabama, Georgia, and Texas. If he came to Alabama, he'd start this year. If he went to Texas, he'd probably start this year. Or if he went to Georgia, he'd probably start this year. But he went to back up Arch.
I can't say that for sure that he would go into places like Alabama and Georgia and start for sure, because I don't like to give freshman quarterbacks that much hype. I know his last name is Manning, but I don't like to give freshman quarterbacks that much hype without seeing them play a single down of football yet at the college level.
And that's fair.
So I don't know if I can agree with you that he would go those type of places and start. I think he is behind a really good quarterback. I am excited to see what that battle is going to look like. I think they're both probably going to see some. I think Quinn starts with the job, especially after his performance against Alabama last year. You just see that he's a dog.
He's got it in him for sure.
So if he didn't get hurt, I think you guys lose that game. Anyway, I think that it's going to be interesting to see. I think Arch has, again, going back to our earlier conversation, I think he has a really good head on his shoulders. He's coming in with one focus. I don't think he really cares about the hype of who he is or his name or anything like that. Or I think he came to play football and he wants to win the job. So going back to not taking NIL till then, I respect it. I think he's going to be a starting quarterback at some point.
Yeah.
I can't say for sure if it's going to be this year or not. But I'm excited to watch. I don't know if it's a more of a conversation right now of who it's going to be right now, but I'm just excited to see how that plays out. And because I think it's going to be a fun battle between the two of them, because they're both competitors. They're both really good quarterbacks. And I think Texas has put themselves in a good position of 2 guys that they know they can win with either way.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind seeing a little dual action, switching it up here and there a little bit.
I'm for it. I think that they're both pretty similar quarterbacks, so it's hard to run a dual quarterback system.
That's fair.
But I mean, I'd be down for it if we can. I'm excited to see Texas go up in some games and then see Arch come in and see what he can do.
Yeah,
But we'll see what happens from there.
it'll be fun though.
So, all right, let's get through this one pretty quick. Playoff predictions.
Yeah,
You give me 4 teams off the top of your head. Who are you going with?
I'm confident in 3.
Okay.
Georgia, Ohio State, and you're gonna like this one. Florida State.
Okay. I can be behind it.
I think Florida State's nasty. They only have to beat Clemson. I shouldn't say only. They have to beat Clemson and North Carolina to win the ACC.
Yeah.
I think Clemson's going to be beatable this year. You have a sophomore quarterback that didn't prove a lot last year. They're going to have a good defense. They're still going to be a good team, but I think with their quarterback, Travis, and they brought in a lot of new guys, and I think it's officially out. It's all right. I think they've got a lot of big time players that are going to do really well this season. And I think they're in a conference that is going to allow them to win. So I think Ohio State's going to be nasty. Georgia's got a pretty capable season of making it there.
Cakewalk of a schedule.
And we're just gross. Let's add that in there.
You're a great team.
Yeah, I know.
But
dynasty. The 4th team is a toss up for me. I think you could have a similar situation with, there's always the chance of and this could be interchangeable. You have a situation of, Georgia, Alabama / LSU, whatever. Like, there's always a good chance of 2 teams in the SEC meeting at the SEC championship and being undefeated, and having good schedules. And if that's the case, I think both go. If it's Georgia, Alabama, whoever. So I kind of leave room for that. And in the 4th spot, it'd be really fun if we could get 4 different conferences. And if that was the case, I think it'll be USC.
Yeah.
They had the chance to do it last year, couldn't close the door with Utah. And what is that? I'm just going to.
Couldn't close the door with Utah.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Those listening on Spotify, we've got a TV behind us that had our logo up, and it's just messing up. But yeah, I think if I had to give a firm answer right now, I'd probably want to say Georgia, in no particular order of ranking: Georgia, Ohio State, Florida State, USC. I actually kind of like that ranking right there, actually.
Yeah, I wish I could tell you that I didn't like those rankings. I'm
not convinced by Bama yet.
No,
I don't know your quarterback situation.
No, I'm also not convinced.
You
by
got
Bama.
Texas, you got LSU.
Here's the thing: I am convinced that our defense is not the best Alabama defense ever to exist, because there are some super high names on that list.
Yeah,
but I think it will be better this year than it has been in the past handful of years. So we got a lot of guys returning. Our secondary is going to be just insane this year. Lots of athletes out there. You have Kool-Aid coming back, who's projected to be a top 10 pick right now. So I trust our defense a lot. I think that if we can nail down the quarterback position, and if Jalen Milroe can either put that together, or if we can figure out, hey, he's not the guy, and switch over to Ty Simpson in time, that doesn't cost us any games, then I think we'll be great. I think that then we'll make the playoff. If we can't do that and we can't nail it down, I am terrified of LSU. So I think that Jaden Daniels leading that I think he's a dog. We'll see what happens.
I think Bama has a very high potential of losing to one game in the regular season, which puts you in danger of not making an SEC championship against when you're with LSU, who has a potential to win a lot of games.
I will say this.
I think if you make the SEC championship, I think you're in the playoffs.
I agree. Now, I will say this, though, about LSU is that Alabama plays LSU at home this year. And
That's
it's a revenge
clutch.
game from last year.
That's fair.
Where we lost in overtime.
That's later in the season too. If you got kinks, they're probably worked out by then.
Like that,
if you're healthy, you've got a good chance. But LSU's gonna be good this year.
Oh no, LSU will be great. I love the LSU team that they have this year.
Mm.
So honestly, I think that we win that game just because it is later in the season. We'll have figured out whatever's going on with the quarterback situation by that point. We'll have the defense to match up with their offense, and because we have it at home. If we didn't have it at home, I'd give you a toss up. But I think we win because it's at home.
I respect that. So give me your final four.
So I'm gonna say Alabama, Georgia.
Both good.
I'm gonna give you both. I'm gonna go USC. And then I do have to stay with Ohio State. I think they're just way too talented on the offensive side of the ball that they're just going to be hard to pick against. I really can't confidently tell you they're going to lose a game this year.
Marvin Harrison's about to be that guy this year.
I mean, you got him. You have the other receiver that I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, but it was like one of the best receivers ever coming out of high school.
Yep.
And you actually, this year, you have it's either his or it's Marvin Harrison's high school quarterback is now the Ohio State.
I think it's Marvin Harrison's.
Yeah. So, I mean, like they just all that stuff combined. It's Ohio State. You know they're going to have a great defense coming in. Like, it's hard to pick against them, especially with, I mean, Michigan's great.
Georgia Ohio State rematch and playoffs / national championship.
I would love that. I unfortunately think that I think it would be a rematch of the SEC champ. If two SEC teams make the playoff, I think that you can't. I think it'd be hard to have one of them not as the 4 seed.
Yeah, I agree. Because if two SEC teams are there, they're both going to be in the championship.
Yeah, agreed.
So whoever loses is going to be 4 probably.
Yeah.
Be fun though.
Anyways, go ahead and move on. What are our
picks
picks
of the week
for week 0?
All right, so I'm just going to run through and list out the 7 games, and then
we're picking winners, not spread, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to give the spread and the over/under? Bless you. The spread and the over/under when I list the games, or does you want that to be part of the?
No,
just list it out.
The games.
All right, we'll list it out all the way down, and then we'll come back and talk to you guys about who we're taking, and then again, we'll pick somebody to send in their picks for us, and we'll post their picks on Instagram when our podcast launches.
Yeah.
On August 17th. So, no particular order here, but we've got FIU at Louisiana Tech. We have Hawaii at Vanderbilt, Ohio at San Diego State, Navy versus Notre Dame, which is in Dublin, Ireland. Yeah, freaking dope.
Go Leprechauns.
Yeah, dude, that's so cool.
I actually just realized that Notre Dame's going to Dublin, Ireland. I didn't realize.
Yeah,
the Irish
awesome.
are going to Ireland. Oh, yeah, no, they're 100% taking that game.
Oh, no, it's not even going to be close.
Take the over, take the spread, everything.
Well, and it has anything. It has Notre Dame as the home team, which
as they
rightfully
should.
so. Yeah. So cool. San Jose State at USC. Honestly, not sure why they did that. But
that was just kind of disrespectful to USC.
Yeah, poor San Jose State. Maybe they'll give them a run.
No,
not gonna happen. UMass at New Mexico State, which I think this was projected to be one of the best matchups on this list. I'm not sure why. And UTEP at Jacksonville State.
That's the best matchup on this list.
Yeah, the spread is the lowest. At least it's UTEP -1.
Yeah.
The over-under is 51.5. All these over-unders, I don't think any goes below like 45. They're huge. I mean, you got 59, 55, 49, 48.5, 63.5, the USC San Jose State. That's just because they think USC is going to put up like 60.
Yeah.
And 42.5 is the lowest for UMass New Mexico State. And then 51.5 for UTEP Jacksonville State. So a lot of huge over-unders here.
Yeah.
We're also talking about a lot of teams that I don't really know if they have the greatest defenses or not. the hard part about this is we don't really know anything about any of these teams other than arguably like Vandy a little bit.
I bet I could surprise you a little bit.
Notre Dame, USC.
You don't know about
That's about all I got.
You don't know about the Miners down at UTEP?
No. You do? No, you don't.
I know a little bit.
No, you don't.
Their quarterback passed for just over 2,000 yards last year. I know that.
Give me one more stat, and I'll shake your hand and say congrats.
Their mascot is the Miners.
No, that does not count.
Yeah, I got nothing else.
Exactly. All right. So, FIU at Louisiana Tech.
I'm gonna take Louisiana Tech. Home game. FIU looked rough last season. I'm gonna trust the Louisianans.
The what?
Louisianans. That I think that's a phrase. If not, I'm gonna coin it. It is now.
Nah. Didn't like that.
I don't want to say the Cajuns because that sounds like LSU. So I'm gonna stick with Louisianans.
I'm just gonna move on. I didn't. Anyway, you got me all messed up. I didn't like that at all. I'm gonna go with the upset here. First, just right off the bat, I'm going
Okay.
FIU.
Okay.
I think we got some dogs down there in Florida.
Load.
They're just built different. I'm gonna take FIU.
I'm good.
I think that also has every potential to not even be a close upset at all, but I'm gonna roll with them.
Okay.
The Panthers.
That game was a toss up in my head.
They got a nasty wide
Yeah.
receiver out there.
Yeah.
I think
That's true.
we're gonna roll with it. Hawaii at Vanderbilt. This is their second one of their home matchup. It was in Hawaii last year. And it was a beatdown. Vandy waxed them 63-10.
And I think that we're looking at the exact same thing happening again.
I'm just gonna go with that too. You got opening day. Hawaii boys are coming down to the SEC.
Oh, it's in Vandy?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not even close.
Yeah, it was in Hawaii last year, so it's in Vandy this year.
What's the spread on that?
18. Vandy
Not
minus
high
18.
enough. Wow.
I got some stats from last year though. Shout out Mike Wright. Now that's the point. That is the point, huh?
He's not there anymore.
Now that's where the counter is here. That's why I'm bringing this information out, because Mike Wright was a huge part of that game. Had over 300 yards, 4 total touchdowns. I think it was 2 passing, 2 rushing. He put up 35 points in the third quarter. So that is the reason I brought that up, is that could be the argument of there is no Mike Wright now.
The counter argument to that is they got beat by one guy.
Yeah. Look, I'm just trying to give some hope in Hawaii's corner. It's a great state, great school.
I can get behind that. And honestly, like if I had a scholarship to go to Hawaii, I probably would have gone to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Over Vandy, to be honest with you.
Oh, for sure. I'm surfing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
look, I'm picking Vandy too. Don't get me wrong here. I'm just trying to add some analyst type information in here.
I appreciate
we're
it.
breaking down the game. Yes, it's at Vandy. You're missing possibly a key player here from last year's game as to why it was such a blowout. But I think it happens again.
Yeah, I think the 18-point spread might need to be doubled, but
Doubled is bold.
it's not.
All right. Again, I don't know anything about Hawaii though. They could just have
that's
added
true.
some dogs.
They could have the next Mariota just out there.
Stop. That's wrong. Anyway. Yeah. Commodores.
Roll Commodores.
Take it home. Ohio, San Diego State. This one could be close.
This could be close. I don't really know anything about the Ohio team, but I do know that when I played NCAA 14, that I loved playing as the San Diego State Aztecs. So I'm going to roll with the Aztecs.
I just feel like you took Ohio previously.
I might have. I really don't remember what I took previously.
Are you final answer here?
But sitting here, I'm gonna take the Aztecs.
Yeah, that's what I had. Which I was excited for you to take Ohio because I kind of thought it was a free point. I feel like San Diego State usually puts together a pretty good team.
Yeah. They take some good matchups.
They have the spread, San Diego State -3.5. They have it pretty close.
Yeah.
It's at home for San Diego State.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be good. But yeah, I got the Aztecs for sure. Navy at Notre Dame in Dublin, Ireland, aka home matchup for the Irish.
Yeah.
The Irish boys in the Ireland.
Notre Dame takes the spread. Notre Dame takes everything possible you could. I mean, you look up and it's just leprechauns all over that game. Imagine. I was like,
all leprechauns. You look up and you see nothing but leprechauns. That's just that I hope we don't get canceled for you saying something like that. That's just rude, man.
I have red hair. So Irish right here.
For sure.
I'm part Irish.
Yeah. I am too, actually. You don't see it.
You're from my
you don't
head. Blame it
like you. But I agree, man. The Notre Dame Irish are gonna be rolling.
Yeah.
I give a lot of respect to Navy, Naval Academy is
that's for sure
a sacred place.
I've actually seen a lot of jokes on why the Army and the Navy aren't like the greatest football teams ever. Like they're the greatest combat forces in the world, and they just get smacked on the football field.
Yeah.
So I will say this about Notre Dame.
Go Army, beat Navy though.
Notre Dame did lose a quarterback and their offense coordinator, both to Alabama, this offseason.
Really?
Yeah.
They just play different football, man.
They do.
Not bad teams at all. I think it's just the caliber is different when you come to some bigger.
Notre Dame did put together a really great end of season last year. So I think
I think they're going to be bad this year.
Over.
They have a chance to be on that brink of
for sure.
getting into the playoffs, I think, this year. So
yeah,
that's the main thing. In Ireland, I think that's the coolest thing ever, honestly. They got Notre Dame -20. That one might need to increase as well. Yeah. Go Irish.
Go Irish.
All right.
Bring it home, boys.
San Jose State at USC. Ouch.
We don't need to spend much time on this one. It's USC.
I feel bad for San Jose State though. Like
I do too.
That's a tough way to open.
But this is going to pay for their athletic this year.
If you're the coach, what's your pregame speech? I hope not that.
It might be that. I mean, like you're sitting out there and like you got to look at your DBs who, I mean, they're better than I ever was at any sport, to give them credit. But they're playing Caleb Williams. Like,
I don't even know if my conversation is going to my DBs. I'm looking at my offensive line and saying, "Hang in there, pal. You stand strong. You can do it."
We're just watching.
And I'm looking at my defensive line and saying, "You need to have a miracle day."
I mean, we're just watching Remember the Titans just on loop that entire week leading up. We're not even practicing. Like it, I know that we're not practicing to be better than USC by that point. Like we're just trying to find the motivation to go play them.
Yeah. Now. Yeah, I honestly have nothing else there.
USC.
Go Trojans. I will say this though. I would love for you to guess the spread here.
Isn't it like 30?
It's 30 on the dot.
Yeah.
USC -30.
Yeah, and I'll take it.
I would probably take that one too, unless heaven forbid Caleb Williams like breaks his leg or something.
That would actually be terrible.
I wish
I would feel so bad.
I really wish I didn't just say that. I'll be praying for Caleb Williams. Cause I love that man, dude. He's so good.
Oh, he's awesome. No,
I'm sorry, Caleb Williams. If you ever hear that, that wasn't meant to be mean. I just was saying that's the only hope that San Jose State has. All right, moving on. Go Trojans. UMass, New Mexico State.
Yeah, I'm gonna
We got the spread, New Mexico State at -8,
Yeah,
over under
I'm
42.
gonna go New Mexico State. I agree with the spread. I think that'll be pretty close.
It's at home. Was it New Mexico State recently that had put up a good fight against a higher caliber team recently? I feel like they're kind of always the guys that like play some big time people
Could have been.
and usually get beat pretty bad, but
Yeah.
I feel like they put up a good fight recently.
UMass is just.
Don't quote me on that though.
I mean, I just can't get behind UMass.
No, it doesn't scream winning at all.
No. Like what is a UMass?
I don't know.
Like at least New Mexico's.
What's their mascot?
University of Massachusetts.
I know that, but like, what's their mascot?
I have zero clue.
I couldn't tell you a single thing about UMass.
I think
couldn't tell you a
their
player.
mascot should be like Gravity.
What?
I,
You're coming out of pocket here in the last half hour of
Dude,
this
we've been
episode.
going for a minute now.
I hope people stick around to hear these recent comments from you. Gravity? I'm gonna move on. It's at New Mexico State. I think they're probably a better team. I don't know anything about them or UMass, but we're going with the Aggies.
Yeah.
What's their thing? Guns up or something?
Oh, I hope so.
That doesn't
with them now.
Sound right. I hope. I don't know.
They're Cowboys.
It's something like that, yeah. And finally, UTEP, Jacksonville State at Jacksonville State. Best spread that we've got here. It's -1 to UTEP, over under 51.5 at Jacksonville State.
Yeah.
I'll probably be watching this game.
Yeah. I'm gonna take UTEP. I just
bold.
I think that they can. I got to go with the Miners.
Cool. I think you're wrong. I've got Jacksonville State here at home, opening day. It's gonna be good, right in the heat, just baking. It's still in August. Ugh. I got freaking Jacksonville State all day.
Yeah,
I think that -1 spread is. I don't really know why people make a spread of 1.
Jacksonville State actually opened as the favorite. It's changed since then.
They're wrong. So it's just that simple.
I don't know if there's like been an injury. I don't know if somebody got hurt. But like they opened us like 2.5 points. Like
what
it's
are
changed
they?
a lot.
Jacksonville State. They're like the
it's a bird.
Stop. I know it. Gamecocks.
Yeah.
That's it. Gamecocks. Go Gamecocks.
Miners.
That's just no. Like a minor.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Don't. No. The only good move. The only reason I know anything about UTEP is from the movie.
What movie?
Please tell me. Glory Road?
Okay.
Basketball movie? All right. Bless America. I mean, that's the only thing that put UTEP on the map that I know of, at least, unless you're from Texas or El Paso.
Well, I am from Texas. I still don't really know anything about that.
All right. Point proof. Yep.
But their quarterback had 2,000 yards last year. Tell you that.
I don't even know who they play, dude, other than Jacksonville State.
I don't know.
All right. So we've got I think we're same down the board except for 2. I've got FIU, you have Louisiana Tech, and then I'm taking Jacksonville State, you're taking the Miners.
Yeah.
So we'll
see what our guest picks.
We'll when we post our guest pick, we'll also post ours as well for the week 0 picks and kind of update that before and after. Let you guys know who's winning, keep a tally there for the guests and for ourselves.
Yeah.
We'll make a prize at the end.
Yeah.
We can think of something. Maybe we can announce that next week. Give some good incentive to keep up with. Be fun for. I don't know how we would give our guests.
We'll figure something out.
Maybe a small something for all our guests, and then something big between us. We'll figure it out. We'll come back and let you guys know. But we're excited for the season, for the fall season, this fall semester football. But really good to be back on the pod. We have a blast doing these things. As you can tell, we have a lot of interesting takes, a lot of good, I don't even want to say good jokes. It's just Micah with whatever Irish people, and
we're just
leprechauns and miners and all this stuff. But
you'll be real careful about saying Micah with miners.
Anyway, we're gonna keep going. You guys let me know if you support my elevator take. I think it's awesome. But
terrible take.
Anyway, again, this is dropping August 17th on a Thursday. We'll come back 2 weeks from August 17th. I believe that's it's gonna be the last day of August. I think it's like the 30th or the 31st. We'll come back and give you guys another good episode. Yeah.
That's all we got today. Appreciate the listen.
Yep. You guys check us out. It's gonna be on YouTube, Spotify. There'll be a link in our bio on the Hometown Heroes Instagram as well as the Hero Club Podcast Instagram, to be able to listen in all different areas. So appreciate you guys. Excited to be back, and we'll see you next time.